Okay, we'll call the Tuesday, December 1st, 2020 Zoom Summit Waller Community Association Board of Directors meeting to order. It is 7:04. And would like to point out that Angela will be taking notes for the minutes for tonight's meeting due to John Goodspeed being out of town. I'd like to welcome all the other board members, and we'll go ahead and take a look at the minutes from November the 5th. You've had a chance to look at those. I guess I need a motion to approve the minutes from November the 5th.
So moved. Bob?
Bob makes a motion, moves a motion. And did I hear somebody second it?
Second.
Okay, Jen seconds the motion. Any discussion on the minutes from November the 5th? Hearing none, we'll move to a vote. Those in favor of approving the November 5th, 2020 Zoom meeting minutes signify by saying aye.
Aye. Aye.
Those opposed?
Abstain.
During the, did I hear one abstention?
Yes, sir. I wasn't there.
Dan?
Doesn't
Okay,
matter.
motion carries. Motion carries. All right, moving on down to the ever famous treasurer's report. And I would like to point out that Russell said, as I think all of you know, he was going to try and make it to our meeting, but it all depended on his workload tonight. But he did get out a treasurer's report for November 2020, and there has been nothing in our post office mailbox, so there's no change from last month to this month. So I need a motion to approve the treasurer's report for November 2020.
I so move.
Okay, Don made the motion. Need a second?
I'll second.
Okay.
Okay, there were two people at once, so.
I'll second, Mark.
Okay.
Okay, Mark seconds it. So it's been moved and seconded to approve the treasurer's report for November 2020. Just reiterating, we do have $3,163.78 in our bank account, our checking account.
Question.
Same as last month.
Is that before or after we read out the check to, on the, how much do we have in again?
$3,163.78.
Okay, okay. I know the answer.
Okay. Those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Those opposed, same sign. Any abstentions? All right, motion carries. Moving on to the Mid-County Community Plan. I have the network contact there, www.piercecountywa.gov/CPUPDATE or update, community plan update. That's our website. You can easily navigate through the Mid-County Community Plan if you go to that particular website. Canyon Rim Estates update. Bob and Dan.
Well, originally the county website said that they would have most likely a decision on the determination of non-significance for the site plan shortly after the MCAC meeting. That hasn't happened yet. And I contact Ty Booth, and he said, well, he'd hope to get to it that following week he hadn't. And so he is looking at sometime after Thanksgiving. Well, I checked at the end of the day today, still nothing had happened. As for the MCAC meeting, I could certainly let Dan provide you with some feedback on that.
All right, Dan?
I have a question, first of all.
Yeah.
You haven't heard from anybody in the county, period, right?
The only feedback I got was from Ty Booth, who said he was still working on the DNS.
Well, keep your eye on that.
Yeah.
I believe there's a very short appeal window. I think I need to check it again, but it could be as short as 7 days after the DNS. Angela, do you know about that? What they on appeal, DNS? How many days do you have after the DNS is issued?
It's been a while. I'd have to look it up, Dan. I can't remember off the top of my head.
Yeah, I need to look it up too, but the shortest it could be is 7 days. We need to keep on top of that. So Bob, I would urge you to keep on daily.
Yeah, I check every day.
There you go. Good man. The MCAT, it went well. Bob was there, giving testimony. His wife and I were there as members of that group. And
Larry was on the call?
Larry was there. Yes, he was.
I was too.
Oh, yeah.
So was Angela.
Okay. Sorry, you weren't there visually. You were there kind of incognito.
Was lurking in the corners in the dark Zoom room of my black screen. I found the meeting to be very entertaining.
You like the sign language we had going in there? Mr. Terry Wise's audio didn't work out very well. He sounded like a chipmunk. Seriously. Oh. And it was this or this, you know, that's all he could do. So he and somebody else, they were the lone votes. In a nutshell, it went well. So we'll keep an eye on it. We'll make the appeal. The purpose of a DNS hearing is the community's opportunity to mitigate the impacts to the community. And we think we can maybe get it from 16 lots down to as little as 8, potentially. That would be the goal. So we'll just see what happens. That's all I have.
All right, anybody else? All right, thanks for the update, you guys. All right, moving on to number 3. Our search for maybe somebody to take over the presidency in 2021. Any thoughts or anybody have any comments on that?
Well, Angela would be great.
Silence speaks volumes.
How's that?
Can I abstain,
Silence
please?
Yeah. No, I mean, she works for the county. Bob would be good.
Okay, you know, I see that we're still mulling that over, so we will move that along to the next meeting on January the 5th. Let's move on to.
Well, Larry, can
yes.
we ask if anyone has thought about saying yes to the job? Has anyone thought about putting themselves forward as a yes?
Not that I'm aware of.
Does anyone else want to speak up and make everyone aware if you're thinking about a yes?
Hey, Bob, what are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, I know. There's been some arm twisting going on. The difficult thing right now for me is that I already have some other commitments that I've been working to try to drop because I've been having some really weird, not bad, more annoyance health issues from why get stressed? And it doesn't even have to be big stuff. And I don't know why, but I have odd skin things that have happened through my life. And so that's been happening again. It started back in September, and I've had my eyes almost closed shut because of swelling. So I've really been trying to cut back on my commitments. I mean, I could do this for a year, but you know, I want somebody else who's ready to be the next in line. It's kind of like my professional association when I was a school librarian. You had the chair and you had the, let's say the vice chair, I forget what their actual title was. And when you became chair, at that point, you really weren't, you were sort of the nominal leader, but the vice chair was doing a lot of work. Not that any of this is a lot of work, but if we had somebody who's already designated to be the next person to take over the following year, that would be something that would be really good, so that, you know, aside from my getting up to speed, then whoever would be taking over for me would also sort of be getting up to speed and have an easier time of taking over.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, since Larry's not leaving for at least a couple of months, there'd be a little bit of help
you know,
there.
I'll be around. You know, I want to stay on the board.
That's good.
Or at least be on the board as an alternate. You know, my wife and I are not going anywhere until at least June, so there is some cushion room there. As soon as we get vaccinated. My issue is stress related as well. I'm the chairman of the St. John of the Woods Catholic Church Pastoral Council, and I get stuff every day that I have to deal with. And the Archdiocese of Seattle is starting to close down some parishes in Tacoma, which is causing quite a stir, and consolidating some parishes into one parish, which is actually connected to St. John of the Woods over in Midland. And so, you know, people are wondering whether is our church going to be closed as well? How much longer are we going to be viable? You know, there are all kinds of questions, and I have a lengthy phone call tomorrow to someone at the Archdiocese, and then Zoom meetings during the next few months on that. So it's considerably more work than I had planned. And my pastor is begging me to stick around until at least June, when our pastoral council term expires. So there's just a lot on my plate right now. And so I guess I'm willing to hang on for a while, but we need to kind of find somebody who will take the reins as president for a couple of years. Now, I think, Angela, weren't you trying to recruit someone to the board that also worked with the county, and how's that going?
It fell off my radar, to be honest. I haven't reached out to him, so I will. I'm gonna write myself a note again. Let me do that. Thank you for the reminder.
Yeah, I think it's incumbent upon every single one of our board members to, you know, recruit somebody for our board. Obviously, we can have a minimum. Well, we can have at least 2 alternates in waiting to jump on the board when somebody wants to or has to leave. But we could have more people as alternates than just 2. So it'd be kind of like the Seahawks and their practice squad. Now we could have as many people as we want to, really, as alternates, like in our practice squad, checking us out, maybe ready to step on as a full-time board member and maybe take one of the executive positions.
That's a good idea. We need to get a little recruitment going. If each person could bring somebody on, and if you're 50% successful, that would equal what, 2 or 3 people?
You know, I reached out to, I thought I had someone that I could bring aboard as an alternate, but, and I really thought I had him right on the hook, but his wife came up and told me that he will not make a good board member or even a substitute or an alternate board member because he has MS and he will not be able to remember anything. That's how far along it is. So, you know, just talking with him and looking at him, you would never know that. But yeah, And of course, we reached out to Lisa Aikita to try and see if she knew someone in her neighborhood, because we could use some additional representation from over there. And she said that she couldn't think of anybody right at the moment. So,
Well, I'm sorry. If Bob, he lives in the same area as Lisa, generally east of Canyon Road. If he could find somebody, especially if we win on the Canyon Rim Estates issue, somebody in those houses over there, pretty nice places, might be motivated to join. So Bob, you might want to keep that.
I know a few people who live in Lisa's area because my kids attend school with Lisa's kids. Our kids, my kids don't go to Waller; they go to Fruitland. And I have reached out and personally asked at least 3 people, but I can think of a couple more that I can try, since only one person got back to me with a definitive answer of no, and the other 2 never answered at all. But there's still a couple more I could reach out to.
Go ahead.
I was just going to say, I will volunteer to reach out to the Franklin Pierce School District communications contact. His name is Joel. I will reach out to him specifically and ask him if he can help us get the word out to. Maybe there's someone that's in the school administrative side, or a teacher, or a principal, or a whatever, that might be interested. So I'll put that out there.
Yeah, that lives that lives their own property within the Summit Waller area. I know the type of.
I don't know if they don't have to live in. I mean, we liked it. Ann Petter didn't live in the community,
but she worked in.
Correct.
Yeah, if
that's
they
what
work
I mean.
in the Summit.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, that's fine.
Is it? Is there a prohibition against having a family member of a, like, on one of my kids? They're over 18. Could they be a board member? Is that too corny?
There is nothing in the bylaws that would prevent that.
I haven't broached the subject, but you know.
Which
well,
kid, man?
I've thrown my hat in. By the
One
way,
of 2. I got Daniel or William, and I'd have to talk to them.
Yeah, I don't know how often the PO box is checked for membership checks and stuff like that, but I submitted an application for the board along with the membership. So definitely not president, but.
I like how Gabe's silent this whole time, and then the very end's like, "Well, I'd like to be a member of the board."
Everyone was talking. I didn't want to interrupt, but you guys kept talking.
I love it.
Where does Gabe live? Where do you live, Gabe?
44th and Waller. I'm sorry, 44th and 72nd.
44th and 72nd. I'm trying to think where that's at.
I'm about a quarter mile north of 72nd Street on the way toward Lidford Field.
Yeah, I know where that's at. I have
that really big house that just got built last year. Everyone knows about that one, but I'm across the street from that one.
Oh, okay.
I think you're a shoo-in, Gabe, for the open position there.
Definitely.
I figure I can raise my hand and say aye every so often.
Yeah.
Awesome. Is there any way that anything that prohibits us from accepting and voting on a position for him tonight?
Larry?
Well, he has attended other meetings, and that's one of the requirements.
Yeah.
Right now, we have 9 board members. The position that he would go into would be an alternate position.
Correct. We have 2 alternates, right? Is that correct? We have nine members and 2 alternates.
Yeah, we would like to have 2 alternates, but like I said before, we could have more than 2 alternates.
Okay.
You know, Gabe's been a lot more active than I have over the last couple of years I've been on. Gabe's done way more than I have in, the last few months. I'd be more than willing to switch out alternate to, from board member. That's a consideration.
Okay, so that's very noble of you, Mark.
I make a motion, if it's appropriate, to accept Gabe's request application to become an alternate on the board of Summit Waller Community Association.
I'm going to have to correct you there, Don. The idea before us is that we would approve Gabriel joining our board and switching with Mark, so that Mark would be an alternate and Gabriel would be a board member.
That's fine. I was doing one and then after the fact doing the swap out. But however you want to put it is fine with me.
Yeah, I figured that's what you would do too. Yeah.
Excuse me. Okay, well we'll do that way, Don. That sounds perfectly okay with me. So there's a motion before us that we approve Gabriel's membership to our board as an alternate.
I'll second that.
Any discussion? Oh, Jen.
I'm jumping ahead. I forgot the discussion part. I was going to second it already.
Yeah, it's Don made the motion. You've seconded. Now we can have discussion.
Okay, I called for the question.
All right, thank you, Don. The question's been called for, and we'll do that. The motion again is that we approve Gabriel's membership to our board as an alternate. Those in favor signify by saying aye.
Hello.
Hi.
Discussion?
I didn't hear discussion right away. Go ahead, Dan.
I have never met Gabe. He's been a gentleman for as I can see and so forth. He's absolutely an asset to the group. I just have one question. There was an email from Gabe that he indicated that land use planning should not be part of our deliberations. Is that the position of Gabe?
Are you asking me directly?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, so I didn't, there's exception because the Canyon Estates project is a developer. It's not a tribal matter. That's the only difference that I have an opinion of. So I'm a little bit more lenient toward the tribal reclamation of land and not being so heavy-handed on trying to control the use of the tribal lands being reclaimed versus the use of just the general public for their use. Well, that's my distinction. That's the only distinction I have.
I have a further question. You know, Don mentioned he knew somebody who was a tribal member, if I'm not mistaken. Do you have any conflict of interest with the tribe yourself?
None.
You don't know anybody in the tribe?
Not at all.
Okay. We're not trying to control what the tribe can do because we can't control what the tribe can do. We have no jurisdiction. We have no authority. All we have is goodwill. That's all we have is goodwill. And communicate. There are neighbors. My next door neighbor, my direct next door neighbor is a member of the Puyallup tribe. I have no problems with the Puyallup tribe, but communication with your neighbors is not a bad thing. Are you adverse to that?
No, not at all. Actually, I like the idea of making sure that we maintain a friendly relationship with all of our neighbors, tribal or otherwise.
Well, I mean, if we as a group wrote a letter to the tribe giving reasons why they should maintain this area in more of a rural density, is that too pushy for you against the tribe? For
me, it would be, the line would be saying, we'd rather you not, instead of saying, we would hope you would. It's more of a,
yeah. Well,
that, yeah.
Gabe, I agree with what you're saying. That letter that I drafted, there was two letters. There was a first letter I wrote about the Faith Dairy a couple of years ago. And that was more in line that we hope you would do this. The more recent letter was about their new acquisition out there. And I did say that the tribe should consider doing this. And in retrospect, looking back, hindsight's 2020, I probably should not have used the word should.
And that's probably what got me the position I was. It was.
I can respect that.
And I think it was also tying in the previous communication saying you should, and previously you said you would. So we're trying to hold you to that. And to me, that just seemed a little bit too aggressive. We didn't get to see the letter before it went out, so it didn't matter.
Yeah, and I apologize for that too. I've been kind of out of the loop because I'm borrowing my daughter's Zoom thing here, and I'm back in the loop now, as you can tell. Gabe, thank you for the clarification. Those are the only questions I had. I didn't know where your heart was. Not that I need to make a judgment on that, for sure, but these were questions that I had. I feel fully confident in voting for you. Thank you.
All right.
And Gabriel, Dan needs you to come over and get his desktop camera going.
Got my email address. Just set up an appointment. I'll have you to come over.
I just bought my daughter this, our cat knocked over a cup of water on her old laptop. So I bought her a new laptop. So I now have a right to say, may I use your laptop? So
yeah, you do.
That sounds fair.
I think we'll proceed with the vote then. Those in favor of the motion signify by saying aye.
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 I
All right. Those opposed, same sign. Abstentions? Motion carries. Let's proceed with the next motion in regards to Mark and Gabriel.
Well, let's welcome Gabe first. Welcome! Yay!
why don't you hand out those pies you got there in the picture?
Yeah, I know. Thank you, everyone. Right. I've been here so long, I just kind of feel like I'm already an honorary board member to begin with.
Well, yes. You've pretty much just celebrated your 1-year anniversary with Connection for a Group.
Seriously? Is it 1 year?
Yes.
Is it 1 year that I haven't been to these meetings?
Mm-hmm.
No, it was 1 year ago that Gabe came to a meeting at the Mid-County Community Center and told us that our website sucked and he could fix it.
Yeah, certainly welcome. That's great.
And we all thought that manna had fallen from heaven.
And it did.
I'm sure Gabriel broke his wings when he fell down from the sky. All right. I need someone besides myself, to make a motion with regards to Mark switching with Gabriel.
I think Mark should initiate that by making the request to the board.
Yeah, I can make a motion. Like I already said, I think Gabe would be a strong board member. He's put a lot more effort in, and I think he's going to do well. So I make a motion to switch Gabe into board status and me into alternate status.
Okay, need a second on that.
Second.
Okay, Dan seconds it. The motion before us is that Mark will move to an alternate position and Gabriel will move to one of the 9 board member positions. Any discussion?
Yes, discussion. Just as long as you're not going to follow precedent of moving your position and then sliding away gracefully like Lisa did.
Yeah.
We can't make that a habit.
I'll still be a part of it for sure.
Okay.
Yeah.
We know where Mark lives.
Yeah.
And I know his dad.
Okay. They've got your number.
Yeah.
Only exception is if there's a fire.
All right. Mark has said that he's not going to slip away as an alternate to kind of fade away into the setting sun. That's good. Those in favor of the motion signify by saying aye.
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 Those opposed? Abstentions? Motion carries. Welcome aboard as a permanent member of the board, Gabriel, and welcome to the alternate chair, Mark. Mark, I have a question for you.
Yes.
We could have two Gianobles as alternates. What's your dad doing these days?
I think he's hanging all this stuff up. I'll ask him, but I know his answer already.
I see. What's his age right now?
80. He just turned 82.
82. Whoa.
Yeah, he's probably been retired for 30 years.
Oh, gee. It's starting to remind me of how long I've been retired.
Yeah.
Okay.
Larry,
I think it's time to move.
I'm sorry to interrupt, but I got booted out of the meeting and I missed that entire vote that you just had. So I'm going to ask that you just quickly repeat the highlights so I can capture them in the notes, please.
Oh, sure. There was a motion to approve Gabriel Tetrarch's joining our board of directors as an alternate.
I got that. Yep.
Okay, and then the next motion was that Mark and Gabriel would switch positions so that Mark would drop to be an alternate, and Gabriel would assume Mark's position as a permanent member of the 9-member board of directors.
Okay.
And both motions passed.
And who voted? Who
Oh yeah.
made the motion and seconded on the
Second one?
On the second vote?
Yeah, it was Mark Gianoble made the motion and Dan Hare seconded it.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Angela, as far as membership for membership effort for next year, you've got an idea, Bruin, that you ran by me. Did you want to talk about that?
The article that I wrote, is that what you're talking about?
Yeah.
Yes, and everyone saw that and was able to provide feedback on that.
Okay, that hasn't been placed on, has that been placed on the Facebook?
Not yet.
No. Okay, or the website either. Okay.
Not yet.
When do we want to put that into motion?
Well, it's done and it's ready. Is now a good time of year to recruit for new members, or do we want to wait until January?
Well, with this COVID thing and then holidays coming up, people are now focused more on ordering stuff online and whether they're going to have, whatever they're going to do for Christmas.
I know.
I know a lot of people are putting up their Christmas lights early, etc. I know that you're ready, and I'm excited about it myself. But maybe January would be the best time to implement that.
That's fine. I can wait.
I want to know what other people on the board have to feel about that.
Yeah, January makes sense. Just kind of start off into New Year, and people will be more mindful, I think, locally, because we were paying attention to the national election stuff going on before.
Oh, yeah, yeah. Okay.
Well, even in January, we have the inauguration, and there's controversy around that still.
Right now, nobody's going anywhere, but people are still kind of focused on what am I going to do for, the holidays and what people are going to be doing with family. So generally, I think waiting until the beginning of the new year, and then people will be kind of past some of that.
Okay.
Well, let's revisit that then on January the 5th and see where we're at that point, because we want to put that that out at a strategic time.
Okay.
All right.
I'm going to put that in the notes that we'll talk about that in the January meeting.
All right. Okay, any other discussion about number 3 on current business? A real quick question to Gabriel. If any of us on the board wanted to host a Zoom meeting, it would be relegated to 45 minutes. Whereas if you host the meeting, Gabriel,
Larry, my
Yeah.
wife has an account. I could always do it as well.
Okay, I just want to know if we had a backup in case Gabriel couldn't host the meeting.
Yeah, that's the only restriction is 1-to-1. You can do unlimited, but if you're doing more than 2 people, then it's a 40-minute restriction.
Okay.
Unless you have a full paid account.
And that's what we
It
have.
looks like,
So yeah, so Bob's going to be good with that.
okay, so at least 2 of you have full paid account. Okay, all right. Moving on to Orange Gate Park. Been a lot going on here. For those of you who are on nextdoor.com, there has been a lot of social media activity and comments about Orange Gate Park of late. And the reason for that was the weekend before Thanksgiving, probably either the night of November the 20th, Friday night to Saturday the 21st, or Saturday the 21st night to the 22nd on Sunday, someone, it appears that someone shot and killed a barred owl that was, what's that?
It's called a barred owl.
Barred, okay, barred owl. And that barred owl had a wingspan of about 4 feet. So I had seen it several times. It flew right over my head a couple of times. Just a beautiful bird. And it was lying in the shoulder of the road. Somebody moved it to next to ecology block. And Sunday, when I went around, Sunday went around to pick up garbage, I saw it. And I also saw 3 shell casings, so out on the shoulder of the road. So, you know, I'm trying to put 2 and 2 together. Somebody just plugged it during the night. And so I put the shell casings on a rock near the body of the bird. The next day I called Pierce County Parks, talked with Beverly Frick. She said that she would make a report with the Sheriff's Department, and also would call Fish and Wildlife. I did get back with her, and she said on Tuesday that an investigator from Fish and Wildlife would come out and investigate the situation. I don't know if that actually happened, neither does she, but over this last weekend, the carcass of the bird was still there. But there had been people on nextdoor.com who frequent the park that took a picture of it and put it on nextdoor.com, which initiated a whole round of comments about the park update that's coming, pipeline trail. There was some misinformation. Some people were expressing their opinions about things. I made about 3 different factual statements to encourage them to check out our website and call the Pierce County Parks Department. If they had questions, gave them the website information for Pipeline Trail and Orange Gate Park, and that is still going on. And I also alerted the Parks Department as to what was going on this nextdoor.com, which they were going to look into. So in the last month, with a little help from Don Massey, we put in 14.5 hours. Also moving down to historic preservation grant, Marty Campbell's office sent out a historic preservation grant. The deadline for it is January the 8th. There's two different categories: historic preservation and history related project proposals. What I did, and of course, if you get money for this grant, you have to complete the work by November the 10th of next year, 2021. Knowing that our group would not be able to fulfill that, what I did was I forwarded that to contacts at Pierce County Parks, and thought that maybe would it be a possibility that they would put in for a historic preservation grant to preserve part of the Bird Mill Road, wagon road. That's a historic wagon road that goes through the park from east to west. I have not heard back on that, but I just wanted to let you know that I did forward that grant information to the Parks Department with that recommendation. Any questions about that?
Yeah, I have a question. Is that the Birds Mill Road still visible through Orange Gate?
Yeah, you remember Dennis Young.
Yeah, he went right through his property. I remember that. He took me on it once.
Yeah, Dennis took me on a tour of the route of the Birds Mill Road through most of Orange Gate.
Huh.
And at that time, you could actually see wagon ruts. But then when the Department of Natural Resources logged it off, they destroyed those wagon ruts. And now, of course, we have horse trails over that. And so the trail is, it's not the old wagon ruts in the trail. They're gone. But the route of the Bird Mill Road, wagon road, should be preserved as a trail, as an identifiable trail through the park. And the Parks Department people are okay with that idea. But maybe this would spur them on to maybe take that on. I'm not sure whether they'd be able to complete the work by November the 10th, 2021. That's up to them. But
not likely.
It's a possibility. Something may come of it or may not.
Larry?
Bob had a question.
Robert?
Actually, I'm currently the chair of that commission. And so,
oh, you are.
Yeah. And I've never heard of any county agency applying for anything like that. Typically, it's nonprofits, not-for-profits, private citizens, and anything that, in order to apply for a grant, you already have to be on either the county list or another historic designation list. But typically, if you're on the National Register or the state's register, you're going to be on the counties as well. And so that has to be the first step before you can apply for a grant to receive money. If we are able, and there's a process for that we could certainly do. The tough thing is if there's nothing that's nothing preserved, might be a little more difficult. I know that we have had some projects in the past for paying for, you might notice, especially going down like Meridian or Canyon, the brown signs that say the historic name for a particular street or road. That was something that was done with a local organization with some grant money. Same thing happened over in Lakewood. So the first thing would be, and we could make the nomination, but applying for some sort of historic status. And I could check into a little bit more of just really what we'd need to have as far as, you know, designate it. Certainly we have the history of the place. Again, what makes it more difficult is that there's nothing there anymore that's representative of it necessarily.
Okay, can I make a comment in that regard? I agree that the Milch Bird Mill Road offers no physical evidence of its existence other than right now someone says this is where the trail was. But what you do have, and I think it's more important to the community as recognizable and ties in with Orange Gate, is the Orange Gate itself. That's got as much historical significance. It's there in the present. And I go back to what I talked to before. If they want to reroute the trail for a aesthetic wilderness experience, then the Orange Gate could be incorporated along with a very small significant portion of what we perceive as the Bird Mill Road, and then go on up to the exit at the southeast corner of the park.
Mm-hmm. Well, I was thinking one thing that could possibly be done would be to have, say, an interpretive sign on 84th, and maybe have some sort of markers that we could put into the ground, you know, however far we think it might work, in order to mark off, here's where the trail went. Yeah. You know, whether they are, you know, wooden 4x4 posts with a red painted top, or however that might work. It's a possible consideration. But again, the first thing is you have to get that historic status with the county. And there's an application process for that. It's available on the county website.
The Notches Trail also has some markings going through like down 94th Street, way over there by South Hill and Frederickson area. There's a few markings along the side of the road besides just the street names. It's also separate markings too.
Yep. But if anybody knows of anything else that might be worthy in the district, Council District 5 is really the poor sister as far as being able to come up with any projects that might apply for a grant funding. And with that grant funding, what is, it's a one-to-one match. So if you have a $10,000 project, you have to be able to show that you can put up $5,000, and then you can apply for the other $5,000.
Yeah, that was the one factor that I failed to mention earlier, that you had to have a match. There had to be a match. All right. Well, if anybody has any ideas, be sure and get those to Robert. Bob, I do kind of apologize. I knew that you were connected with the Preservation Board, and it just slipped my mind, and I should have given you a call first before I even thought about passing that along to the Parks Department.
Yeah, not like you don't have enough on your mind.
Yeah. All right. Let's move on down to horses in Orange Gate Park. Jen, you brought this up because there was someone who you talked with about horses in the park. Do you want to talk about that a little bit?
So what I need to do when I go out on my runs is to just run and not stop to talk to people. So I stopped to say hi to Kathleen. She had her horse with her. I asked if I was just being friendly, and asked if she was looking forward to, the pipeline trail being developed. And I was under the understanding that there was, a horse lane, and I just thought it would, I don't know. I was just trying to be friendly and talkative. My mistake. So I opened up a can of worms and I didn't mean to, but maybe these things maybe it's good in the long run, because people have really, really strong opinions and they feel like they're not being heard. So what she wanted to do was she wanted to come to this meeting, and she asked again today if she could come to the meeting, but Larry had wisely, because he has a lot of experience being a president and not wanting things to get out of control during a set agenda, directed me to give her, to direct her attention to asking people in charge of the park plans specific questions, and asking about what responses she had gotten back from them, and just digging more into the problem. And she never replied to me, but she went to nextdoor.com, and that's where I sent you all the email to, if you wanted to check out that response, to do so. So she texted me again today, and she, our conversation, well, one of the things that said when I was on the walk was that she had said that she puts a lot of time and effort, as do her horseman friends, in maintaining the park. And she says that she picks up trash, she cuts branches, she watches out for homeless encampments, and works to, I don't know, she says that they're involved. And I told her that Larry keeps track of these hours and these sorts of things, and that maybe we would like to know about the efforts that they put into keeping up the park, because I didn't think that was common knowledge, or we would include it in, or have mentioned it in the past, and it's never been mentioned. So that's just where we're at. She says her brother knows Larry. So do you know, maybe, I mean, I think her last name is not her brother's name, probably. It's probably her married name. But she says that her brother knows you, Larry, and that you're a good guy.
Oh, gee, thanks.
Yeah. Well, that was nice of her, because I had to, when she asked to come to the Zoom meeting again, I had to explain in a nice way that she wasn't invited.
Well, it wasn't that she wasn't invited. It's just that I did not know what her concerns were.
Well,
and that's what I asked you to find out, what her concerns were. If we knew what her kind of basic concerns were, we could focus on those. Her basic
concern is that the park is going to, where the horses have a lot of range in the park now, that they're going to have a designated, very, very small area to be in, and that, that's upsetting to them. They like what they have now, and they don't want that to change. They don't want a smaller piece of the pie. And
I see.
Anyway, she said, another note says she bushwhacks and chainsaws fallen trees, and she and her friends are eyes and ears to unsavory happenings here. So it sounds like she does a lot of the same stuff you and Dawn do.
Yeah. Well, I would like to record her volunteer hours. So if you would give her my name and cell number and have her give me a call, I'd certainly like to talk with her, and we can talk about what she does in the park. I know that I've known for years and years that people who ride horses through the park, especially the area south of 84th Street, they do, if there's trees that have fallen over the trail, they do get taken care of. And it's not by the Parks Department, it's just by people who come in and use them. And I know that there have been some people other than myself who have weed whacked alongside the trails, both north and south of 84th Street, which is greatly appreciated. So, you know, if this is one of those people, I would certainly like to get their hours to include, I would like to include their volunteer hours to send into the Parks Department, because I guess they use those hours when they apply for grants.
Okay. Well, and that's one thing I highlighted in our conversation today, our texting conversation, was that part of the conversation leapt out at me more than anything else, was that when she had talked about park maintenance, that there were, you know, because Dawn, you've mentioned that you don't feel like the horse people pull their weight around the park, that they do more messing up than cleaning up. And so I just thought, well, gosh, that's news, that there is some additional work going on that we're not aware of. And so I thought, you know, let's give credit where credit is due. Yeah.
Well, I know that there's, in the future, there's going to have to be some compromise between various groups that use the park. It is 160 acres of an area where you couldn't find places to ride your horse that large near urban and suburban areas. But of course, there's other usages there too. You know, people who walk their dogs make up a good portion of the usage of that park. And there have been situations in the past where dogs and horses just don't mix very well. So, I mean, there's going to have to be some compromise there.
And it would be nice if there were some trails that were horse-free trails per se for walking on. I mean, I know a dog named Pearl that doesn't like walking in horse caca, so.
And of course, there are people who think that horses ruin the trails. So, on the other hand, though, the horses and the horse traffic keeps the major trails open.
So Jen, has she contacted Tiffany Odell? Because that's who she needs to email and talk to.
Yes, she has.
Okay.
Yes.
Oh, okay,
and
that's good.
She's contacted Marty Campbell as well.
Well, that's, I mean, the whole, I was generally irritated by her stirring the pot, because then there was a bunch of like pipeline trail people and then they were talking about two different projects, and they were all, oh, we don't like this thing either. I'm like, well, you're not even talking about the same project. But she needed to just go directly to Pierce County Parks, which is Tiffany Odell, and ask those same questions. And they had a comment period. There were 300 responses to the survey, which was more than they've ever had. And so that was kind of the time to provide that input. So I don't know if they didn't know about it, if they didn't see it, if they weren't aware of it, but either way, instead of vetting it kind of just generally on social media and stirring the pot, I'd just say go to Tiffany, have her talk to Tiffany.
All right. Well, I will continue to redirect, but.
As far, you know, there have been people who are saying they're going to contact Marty Campbell's office, but, you know, Marty Campbell's office is not the direction that you need to go with your questions about Pipeline Trail and Orange Gate Park. And you can tell Kathleen that I have direct contact with a variety of people at Pierce County Parks. And right now, my main contact person is Beverly Frick, who's in charge of basically sending crews out to Orange Gate Park. So when we had this last little abandoned homeless camp, which was very small, but it had been there for like a year, it was Jess and Caitlin who came out at the direction of Beverly Frick to actually clean it up, which they did. So, you know, I have direct contact with the people, the person to call if I need something picked up or done at Orange Gate.
So I went, while we were chatting, I went to look up the next door big, huge pile on that got started. And about 4 hours ago, she wrote the following, Kathleen wrote the following note. I received a nice reply from Tiffany Odell in regards to updated improvement plans. The pipeline trail and the parking lot, it's a done deal, but I'm hoping they will continue receiving community input on any additional development. I'm supposed to receive an email in December with modified plans, and I encourage each of you to ask for this email update with her. So she is starting to move along the channels that you're suggesting, Angela, and that Larry suggested. And I did point her in those directions to begin with, but like I said, she didn't answer me back. She went straight to next door.
Yeah, yeah.
So.
Angela, isn't Brianne Blackburn the one that's kind of spearheading the pipeline trail improvements?
Yeah, Brianne is the contact for the pipeline trail project itself. But what it sounded like Kathleen was talking about was the park master plan update, which that's Tiffany. Okay. If she has issues with the pipeline trail and the parking lot, then that's Brianne. So
is Tiffany back? You know, Cindy Haverkamp was.
Yeah, Tiffany's back.
Okay, Tiffany's back. Okay, all right.
What's Brianne's last name for future reference?
Blackburn.
Blackburn.
It's the same person that I gave to you, Jen, for the little market there on 72nd and Waller.
Got it.
Same.
I did pass that along. Yeah. I took it from you and I gave it to them, and that was it.
Okay.
Thank you for doing that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Everybody in county government now has, isn't it their first name, a dot, and then their last name, and then it's at piercecountywa.gov.
Yep, that's correct.
Yeah.
Oh, that just jogged my memory. That sorry, backing up through the agenda an hour ago, but the guy that owns the store that asked for that information, Angela, he's interested in being a board member, or he suggested that he was interested in being a board member.
What store?
The little Waller Road Farms store on the corner of 72nd and Waller.
Across from the Thunderbird.
His name's Albert, and his wife is Julie, and I don't know what their last name is.
Okay, cool. Well, if you see him, have him get in touch with me. You can give him my information.
I will.
Okay, all right. Well, that's good to know.
And back to the issues with Nextdoor, I do want to say that Larry's replies I thought were very well written, nicely on topic, not anything that would ruffle feathers, but just, here's simply what the facts are of this, and trying to keep the conversation focused on that rather than, opinions or feelings.
Thank you.
I got a question for Jan. Does this Kathleen, is she an individual, or is she a member of any organization that represents the horse people?
I think she's just an individual, Dawn. I've talked to her maybe 3 times since she moved in the neighborhood a couple years ago. So when I run across her, we try to get a couple sentences in to be friendly, and we both are raising kids and our mom's in the same area. But
I understand that. I do not belong, nor will I join Nextdoor.
You told me that.
All of these conversations going on that some of us may or may not have privilege of viewing or understanding. I don't care for it, but there's nothing, that's a personal choice I have. Another question, read that quote, what she said, the letter came back from who, that the trail and the parking lot is a done deal, and come hell or high water, nothing is going to change. Is that what that said? And who wrote it? Or who did she say responded?
She said Tiffany Odell. I can try to see if I can screen snapshot that and email it to you.
All right. Because that, unless I misses something, what was the purpose of the survey when she comes out, if in fact what this lady said is true, what her letter said, that the parking lot and the North Orange Gate Trail is a done deal, when they put hundreds of thousands of dollars into the engineering of an off-course, off the pipeline, alternate experience route. Does anybody understand what I'm trying to say?
I think the issue is that you have somebody who's writing something that isn't necessarily what's coming from the county.
Yes,
that's my point. Yeah, I agree with you.
Mm-hmm. I don't think she really understood she didn't translate what Tiffany was saying accurately. Tiffany probably said, listen, the trail and the parking lot area are already they're already in the design phase. So that's not going to change much. The Orange Gate Park master plan, though, is still in early development. So she must have taken that as, I'm not going to be able to change the pipeline trail, which means I can't change anything, which is not true. But
well, I'm looking at the quote that she had on there on Nextdoor right now. It just says the pipeline trail and the parking lot for it is a done deal, and that he's hoping that they receive community input for additional development, and then that would probably be the Orange Gate Park stuff she was talking about.
Yeah, I think the two projects are getting totally just conflated and confused, and that's it
bisects the park, so people associate them together.
Yep, right.
And it's the pipeline trail and the trailhead parking lot and facilities that will be constructed before we start seeing any kinds of improvements. Well, major improvements to Orange Gate Park, although there's going to be some of that stuff's going to be merged together at the same time, probably towards the end of when the pipeline trail is completed to the east gate of Orange Gate. In phase one.
Larry, if you go back to your point number 4 and you go and look at the Orange Gate Park Master Park Plan, that's dated 2007. And if anybody looks at the map like that, I can see where they get twisted on what was then and what is proposed now.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's a scary looking plan for sure. The old plan,
absolutely.
And then you can go back to the 1980s and come up with the very first plan for the park, which involved public meetings over at Waller Road Elementary School. So I mean, we're looking at the third master plan update for Orange Gate Park coming up. Not the first, not the second. It'd be the third.
Yeah, and the ground hasn't changed any.
Yeah, I don't know how many of you know this, but our Prince County councilman at the time, Wendell Brown, helped us with. We were ready. He actually had someone design a 18-hole short course golf course for Orange Gate Park. And that was long before Chambers Bay was on the radar. So that didn't go over very well at the public meetings, because you had people who ride horses through that open space area called Orange Gate. And you had there was a mountain bike contingent of people that wanted to put in a big master park of, with a lot of mountain bike activities. You had people that were for the golf course. You had people who we call the horse people. There were even people who wanted to construct a motorcycle portion in the park. So nothing was basically decided too much in that very first master plan, because there was no money at all to do anything with the master plan. And then in 2007, it was revised. So now we're revising it again.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So that mountain bike trail system looks like it was relocated, or the idea or concept and moved over to Swan Creek Park in the upper area.
That's correct. Okay, moving on to Pierce County Parks Citizen Advisory Board. Don, give us an idea what that is and how you were interested in that.
Yeah, I've been to probably 4 of their meetings going way back to the present one. I had initially expressed interest in becoming a board member, but I sent a letter to Roxanne Miles, the head person, and told her that I would withdraw my request. It's not an organization that I feel I could contribute to in a worthwhile manner. It's, how do I maintain political correctness? It's interesting. It's, I think they're just a review board for whatever the park's gonna do. There's a lot of real estate, commercial development people. There's politicians that are part of it. It's not what I thought it was gonna turn out to be. But I did learn from the meeting that I think Kimberly Freeman, the meeting before, I had brought up Title 14, Rules and Regulations of Park Use, and it was brought up again. That, in fact, is so far out of date that it's almost a worthless document. It needs updating, and they said that the Citizens Advisory Board would be appraised of it and their opinion sought. Also, the public will have a chance to participate in reviewing what changes they make. One of the things that I saw in there that really caught my attention and my disdain is that all animals on leash or in the park will have their refuse picked up behind them. And horses are not exempt the way the title is written now. So every horse user in the park is in violation of county code. I find that really interesting. Of course, we know that there's no enforcement until somebody gets hurt in the park or an animal is injured by a dog attack. There's not a day go by that I don't walk, or probably Larry too doesn't walk the park, and there is 1 or more dogs off leash. You know, my dog is on leash every step I go, and that's to protect her as well as protect myself and anybody else. I don't know what the answer is for that. But then another point I was looking at, because they discussed the budget activities for the fiscal year of 2021, and it had funding for some improvements on Lidford Park. But I went back and looked at the entry for it on the web, and I cannot find it, but there was upwards of a couple of $100,000 for playground equipment. So I'm gonna have to talk to or email Kimberly Freeman and see if she can refresh my memory on that. But other than that, it was just another board meeting.
So in summary, you had virtually gone to a few of their meetings to the point where you thought you might be interested. You made an application, then you decided that it wasn't going to be a good fit for you. and so you withdrew your application. And so that's where it stands right now.
That's correct.
Yeah. How many members are there on this board? Do you know? I think I have an idea.
Yeah, I believe it's 7.
Okay, that makes sense because there's 7 county councilman districts. And so I take it then that there's an open position for District 5.
Yes, that's correct.
Okay.
I believe District 5 has 2 positions on the cab.
Oh, okay. All right. Anyone else? Well, Don, if you're not interested now in the Parks Citizen Advisory Board, Marty Campbell's office, that would be Mark Williams, talked with me today, this morning, about the Conservation Futures Advisory Board. I have a good friend out in Bonnie Lake, actually Lake Taps, who had been on the Conservation Futures Advisory Board before, and he would have good things to say about it. So there is an open position for District 5, which is our district, and Marty Campbell's office is looking for someone who might be interested in being on that particular advisory board. Basically what they do is there is a tax on each parcel of property that goes, I think it's like a $5 tax. It may be higher nowadays, but there's a certain tax from each property that goes into a general fund, which is designed for the county to purchase open space areas for future parks or future or just open space. And Orange Gate Park is an example of that because it was purchased through Conservation Futures money back in the 1990s. So what the group does is they get various groups make application for certain sites to be purchased by Conservation Futures money. And then they get a list of about 10 parcels of property. The advisory board is advised to go out and take a look individually at these different properties. And then they get together and they prioritize the list. And then they see how much money they have to spend that particular cycle. And then they award monies for those projects. That's basically what the advisory board does. I don't remember how long the commitment is. I want to say a couple of years, but they are actively looking for, Marty Campbell's office is actively looking for someone from our area to be on the Conservation Futures Advisory Board. So you might find that to be more interesting than the Pierce County Parks Citizens Advisory Board. Just a thought, but I would like everybody to know that if you know of anybody who is interested in conserving future parcels of property for open space in the future, they might consider looking into the Conservation Futures Advisory Board from our area, District number 5. And Don, if you are interested in maybe pursuing that, I will gladly give you the name and phone number of one of my very best friends who served on that advisory board, who could give you more information on how exactly it worked and how long the commitment is.
I'll take a look at it tomorrow.
Okay.
Larry, could we go back to park impact fee schedule that we skipped over?
Oh, yeah, sorry. Must be my glasses. Park impact fee schedule. Oh, yes. Yeah, that's 2020-123. It's going to be on next Tuesday's Pierce County Council meeting. Was there any input that we wanted to have from, since we have Orange Gate Park and part of Swan Creek Park in our area, Lidford Park, you know, we have lots of acreage of parks, and improvements to parks are relegated to this park impact fee on new construction within unincorporated Pierce County. I think that they might be proposing to look at that schedule and see if what kind of an increase might be warranted in this impact fee, just like they look at all the other impact fees for roads and schools and other things. Excuse me. Anybody have any comment about that?
I think any changes to where they will provide improvements to parks would be dictated by the park improvement plan, or whatever the official name is. And I know that Orange Gate really wasn't slated for a lot of improvements except for some trail maintenance and then the master plan update. So
yeah, I think in the future Orange Gate is slated for about $4 million in the next 10 years. I think that was a figure I heard. Separate from Pipeline Trail.
Correct. Yep.
I can look into that a little bit more, and you know, I think they're just going to look at the fee schedule and decide whether they're going to keep that fee schedule the same as it is, or through inflation they might raise it a little bit. And of course, it goes to Pierce County Parks and Recreation.
Didn't they recently increase the park impact fee like a year or two ago? Does anyone remember that?
Like that park impact fee hasn't been in effect all that long. Maybe 3 to 5 years ago.
Is it that long ago already? It seems like they had I remember seeing some graphics about how Pierce County had one of the lower park impact fees for the amount of people it served, you know, in comparison to other counties and jurisdictions. So they raised it significantly, I thought, but that maybe it was 3 years ago already. But I don't know. I have COVID memory lapse here. The last 9 months have seen my sense of time is totally warped.
Well, what I'll do is I'll monitor that and let you know how things went as far as that park impact fee was dealt with by the county council December 8th meeting, and maybe I can talk to there's always a contact person that's listed that you can call. So I'll call that person and see where it looks like that's going to go. Okay. Because it will impact us a little bit. All right. Compression brake issue on Canyon Road. Well, I would like to point out that Don kind of brought that up. Don, correct me if I'm wrong, but in a previous email earlier this year, you brought up the idea of this ordinance 2014-27, which dealt with prohibiting compression brakes being utilized on certain county roads, and I believe those are out in the eastern part of the county a ways. I have talked with Mark Williams twice. He got back with me today, and I did call Don and appraised him as to both of my phone calls. The request is that maybe the county council consider an ordinance. Maybe it's going to need to be a separate ordinance to prohibit the compression brakes being utilized from SR 512 all the way down to 72nd Street, which was requested by Dawn. I followed up on that, and today Mark Williams said that they are going to be, he has been in contact with Letitia Neal. I think that's who that is.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's Letitia.
Yeah, and they've discussed it. I did remind them later on this afternoon of this old ordinance 2014-27 that maybe would be a helpful guide on how to write up a new ordinance. And it's my impression that they will be working on an ordinance to deal with that issue on Canyon Road.
Okay, yeah, that's good. I'm glad it's moving forward. The way I read it is the ordinance already exists, and so all of the council has to do is amend it to include the specific Canyon Road section amongst the already designated streets and alleys that are covered by the existing ordinance. But they're gonna figure that out.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it might be that they might have to create a separate ordinance on that. So just we'll let them deal with it. They're going to work on that ordinance, and so we'll just leave it up to them, and he will get back with me like he did, like he's done before for a couple other ordinances, in particular the fireworks ordinance and also the no parking sign ordinance around Orange Gate. So I feel very comfortable that Mark Williams will get back with me on this issue sometime in the near future. We just have to be patient as it goes through the process of being written up and then worked into the process.
Good, well, thank you.
Okay, anybody have any questions about that? No one's mad because now they won't be able to drive their big truck down Canyon Road and use their Jake brakes.
Well, they'll do it anyway, just like they don't pay attention to the speed limit signs.
Well, enforcement is another issue, as it always is.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
All right, Gabriel, your section.
Okay, so minimal changes this month. I just updated it with the information that we wanted to put on there from last meeting. And, you know, Angela and I have been keeping on top of the Facebook group, making sure that things are not out of control during the crazy season of election season, and keeping on topic for the local community stuff. So it's pretty much business as usual.
Okay.
Yeah.
You know, it is perfectly all right for someone, because it's important news of the month, and I don't think we had anything on there for November. And I always try to write something up for the month, but it just got busy. But any one of our board members can submit something to Gabriel to put on our website under important news of the month. Please do not just rely on me to write up all these things, or Angela to write up things. Anyone's can submit things. I suppose it would be a good idea to run it by the rest of us first, but if it's just a notification of something, may not have to do that.
Well, and I think too, one of the things for the Facebook group is I'm happy to post stories, articles, notable events, that sort of thing. And I'm guessing Gabe would be too, but it's nice when other members of the community also contribute. So it's not just me and what I'm, you know, the lens I'm looking at. It's nice to have different perspectives and kind of understand what other people in the community think are important in their areas. So yeah, if you see something that you think would be worth sharing, I encourage you, for those of you that are on Facebook, to post it yourself instead of having me do it, because I think people are tired of seeing what I have to say. So
you want to hear the choir, not the soloist.
Yes.
I've still got firewood available.
Lots of firewood and posts.
And sod.
There's lots of firewood across the street from my house.
I am low on firewood this year, so.
I don't.
All right. Go ahead. Go ahead, Don.
No, I say I don't deliver.
Oh, you don't deliver.
Yeah.
All right, 121st Street East Centers and Corridors Appeal. Dan, would you fill us in on that, please?
Sure. As you are aware, our community, the Real Separator, extends basically generally from the Puyallup River all the way south to Brookdale, east and west from Tacoma to Puyallup. It's called the Real Separator. And the county recently has included the update to the Pierce County Comprehensive Plan, which includes our area. And it's been pretty clear that our area is not going to be affected by the plan update. For some reason, they look at the Real Separator as being kind of I don't know what the word would be. They just respect it. They're not going to mess with it. The problem is areas bordering the Real Separator are being impacted. Angela's pointed this out several times in her piece that she wrote in response to the DNS, or the environmental scoping or whatever it was. Mm-hmm. She highlighted that. And I think we sent in a letter. Also, North Clover Creek folks, they sent in a letter too also during this plan update process. Now that plan update process has really been kind of limited because of the COVID issue. The record is not voluminous. It's rather limited, I think. But the county, I think, in absence of a lot of people being there to express their concerns, they took liberty, I think, with some of the urban areas and did a lot of things that a lot of people are objecting to. My understanding is that the FutureWise organization is going to appeal this to the Growth Management Hearings Board. I think Audubon's going to be with them, as well as some groups. I don't know if it's Spanaway or Graham or Frederickson, but there's going to be an appeal taken from the county's decision to the Growth Management Hearings Board. Now, this is simply an administrative decision. This isn't going to court. There's no a fee for going to court. Our organization has gone to the Growth Management Hearings Board on appeal a number of times, and I think we've prevailed in all of them except one, and that has to do with 121st Street. The reason we didn't prevail on that, in my opinion, is because that is in the North Clover Creek area, south of the Summit area, but still in the Real Separator. And they didn't get involved in the process back then until very late. The record wasn't very well contained, so it didn't go well. We did not prevail on that. We joined in that appeal and so forth. What is happening now, of course, is this update gives us another opportunity to take this administratively before the Growth Management Hearings Board. And I'm suggesting that we do this. I'll tell you why. Number one, there's no fee to file the appeal. It's not going to court or anything like that. It's an administrative appeal, which simply bumps it from the county council to the Growth Management Hearings Board. And they're just a 3-panel, I think there's 3 on there, that just simply looks to see what the county did, okay? And FutureWise, my understanding is FutureWise is going to take lead on this. And I think we should grab onto their shirt tails and just go along with respect to 121st Street. Why? Well, 121st Street is the border between the Real Separator and the Growth Management, or the urban growth area. And they're proposing in that area, right, butting up against the Real Separator, to have a huge apartment complex, and now they've expanded it to be a large commercial area. What they've done, they've expanded off 112th Street, which is the urban corridor within the plan, all the way south to 121st Street. They've gone too far south. It's a semi-primitive oil mat road that they want to access with these apartments. I talked to Kirk Kirkland of the Ottoman Society. He's connected with FutureWise, and don't quote me on this, please. But he says that the county is going to lose on this particular thing because they're now I don't know all the details, but they apparently didn't do it right. I don't know if it was because of COVID or the building lands analysis, but they went way too far and too intense and dense on their development without the concurrency of infrastructure. So it looks like they may lose. Now, I think we should be involved with that. Let's see, it's an administrative appeal, and we do have standing, thankfully, to Angela and her piece that she wrote on the environmental scoping document, I believe. Plus, we early on wrote a letter, North Clover Creek wrote a letter, and so I think we have standing. And I think we need to put the appeal notice in just to see if we want to continue. If we go forward, we can always back out, but I think we need to meet that deadline for filing the appeal. So I'm asking for a motion tonight to simply file the administrative appeal and see where it goes. That's all. Any questions? Crickets.
Are you raising your hand, Bob?
Bob's gotten a bad
Bob's
connection.
on mute and got a bad connection.
There we go.
Had background stuff going on. So I was just putting my arm up on the chair.
Oh, okay.
But I will make a motion that we go ahead and file the administrative appeal as member here proposed.
I second it.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded. Robert made the motion and Don seconded it, that we file administrative appeal in regards to the 121st Street and Centers and Corridors appeal spearheaded by FutureWise.
Well, I'm not, leave off the FutureWise. I haven't talked to them yet. I don't want to put words in their mouth. I know that, I think they're going to make an appeal. My understanding is they're going to make an appeal. And if they leave the appeal, we would certainly follow in their wake, but they're not arguing our case.
Would we want to join their appeal or make an additional appeal to their?
Well, if there's 2 or 3 or 4 or 5 appeals, they will all be conjoined, or they'll all be joined together as one appeal before the Growth Management Hearings Board. They're always joined together.
Okay. Okay. Thank you.
Dan, how would you phrase the motion since you brought it up?
Well, first of all, I'm going to be abstaining from the vote, number 1, because I may be involved in the appeal. I would just say, very simply, with regard to the Growth Management Plan update, file an appeal to the Growth Management Hearings Board specific to 121st Street, period.
Okay, all right. Is that okay with you, Robert?
Yep, it's fine with me.
All right, so it's been moved and seconded that we go ahead with, we approve an appeal process in regards to the Growth Hearings Management Board in regards to 121st Street East. Any other discussion?
The only discussion I'll add is, I don't know, to the success we will have, it's always good to keep involved with these administrative appeals. It lets the county know that we're out here kicking, and that if they're going to do something, they're going to ultimately end up getting appealed. So it keeps them kind of on the straight and narrow, if you know what I mean. I don't know if that's appropriate to have as a motivation, but it's a side benefit. I wouldn't go into an appeal unless I hoped and planned and tried to win. Our record's been, I think, 3-1, 3 wins and 1 loss. I don't know. But this, if we win, we'll turn around that 1 loss. We'll see. Okay. We'll see what happens.
Anyone else? Okay, let's proceed with the vote. Those in favor of the motion signify by saying aye.
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 Those opposed? Abstain?
Dan Herrick abstains.
Motion carries. All right. Thank you very much, Dan, and congratulations, group, on this issue. Is there any other agenda item that anyone wants to bring up that's not on the agenda?
Yeah, if anybody sees a large Great Dane with floppy ears running around, give me a call, please. My neighbor lost his dog. It's on.
According to neighborhood.com, that dog has been sighted all over the place.
How many places?
Nobody. What was it? The last one was 50th. Let's see. Well, there was a new one just today.
Really?
I think it was like a 57th and Vickery, something like that, over on Vickery.
Wow.
I feel sorry for the dog in these cold nights and everything, you know.
Does he have a name, Dan?
Rex, but don't. He will let you hear.
What?
He's often mistaken for a small horse.
Oh, well, if I'm out walking and running, I can keep my eye open for him. He might come if I call him.
That's more than half of what next door is lost and found for dogs and cats.
It is.
Yeah.
But it works. So many people reunited with their pets via social media within hours or days. It's crazy.
Yeah, my neighbor is on next door. Question, is our area North Waller Road on next door?
North Waller Road 2.
There are pieces of it.
We're North Waller Road 2.
I'm not sure who put those maps together, but it was pretty weird.
It's horrible.
I know, because when there was already a Waller Road or a North Waller Road, but it didn't include, it stopped at 48th and it didn't include down to Pioneer. So I made a North Waller Road too.
Can a person be on both of us?
Pearl's gotta go outside.
You just press which neighborhood you want to include, Dan. You can include miles of neighborhoods.
Yes, yes. I need to look at that more often.
You can only join one group, Dan.
Oh, seriously?
No. You're by default in the group where you live, and then you can specify how far out up to a point out in your neighboring neighborhoods.
I'll take a look at it.
Yes.
Okay. Anyone else? All right, just a new business, just an announcement there. Neighborhood Watch meeting that usually is at the Mid-County Community Center. The first Friday of every month is canceled, and I don't foresee them meeting back in the Mid-County Community Center for several months ahead until everyone gets inoculated or vaccinated with the new vaccines that are coming out. All right, our next board meeting is Tuesday, January the 5th, 2021, a new year, and it'll be a Zoom meeting, and it'll be at 7 o'clock. And had I been thinking, I would have put at the bottom, which I will before I file this away, and I will center the heading at the top a little better. Merry Christmas to everyone. Happy Hanukkah, and whatever else. All right.
Angela.
Anybody have any last closing comments?
Angela, are you looking for firewood?
I'm always looking for firewood.
No, seriously.
Yes.
You want some firewood?
Especially free firewood. It's what I really like.
I switched over to geothermal and I got a bunch of firewood that I don't need.
Oh, yeah.
I'll call you, Dan.
I get on that.
A lot of it's really dry and ready to go. Some of it's wet. You take all or nothing.
I'll take it all. Well, I'll try to take it all. I mean, I only have so much room. Yes, but yes.
It's more than a cord, so.
Okay. I'll give you a
So
call.
Dan,
yes.
you got a ground source heat pump?
I got geothermal.
Ooh, nice.
Is that a ground source heat pump?
Yeah, it's about 8,000 lineal feet of underground pipe, 8 feet in the ground, and it radiant floor. It's the only way to heat this house. The house is like it's too big. You can't heat it other than radiant floor. I did it myself. Well, no, I had geothermal put in, but I did the rest myself.
Mm-hmm.
Larry's seen it.
Yeah.
I used to heat it with wood. I had a wood-fired boiler. I heated a
Oof.
huge tank, but I had to go in there every morning with a wheelbarrow load of wood and fire up that sucker. And then it takes an hour and a half for the radiant floor to heat up. And, you know, the trees are getting bigger around here, and I'm getting smaller. And so I said, heck with this. And there was a 30% tax credit on geothermal. I said,
Yep.
heck, yeah.
Yeah, because Dan used to be 6'4", but now he's how tall?
I've shrunk. My kid's 6'5", he's taking over. I hope you folks are all safe during this holiday.
You do the same, yeah.
Happy holidays, everyone.
Gabriel, it's finally nice to meet you, and I'm glad I'm zoomed in here and hope to participate in the future.
Excellent. I'll see you next month then.
Congratulations.
Yeah.
Good night, folks.
Good night.
Oh, before you go, is everyone gone?
Nope.
No.
Oh, okay. So I just want to make a plug. If you are interested, Angela, I already know. I saw your note, but we're collecting to send soldiers gifts at Christmas time. It was an idea from a guy in my church because his brother committed suicide one Christmas, and so he had his heart's desire for our project this year was to support soldiers overseas. And I received a grant from enough money to send 16 medium-sized boxes. And so I've just been asking people to repost that message to people in the neighborhood who might bring by things and drop it off at the church. And then on Saturday, we plan to pack those boxes up and ship them out. So if you want to find my post on the Facebook page and repost it, that would be great.
All right. Okay. Anyone else? All right. Happy holidays, everyone.
Night.
And thanks.
Night.
For
Thanks.
the meeting.
I'll
We'll see everybody back on January the 5th.